Anything else from anybody else? All right, so I have a thought for the day. So a friend of mine emailed me the other day and he said, believing in God is easy, but believing in ourselves, that's hard. Lately I've been on the road a lot and traveling with homies and homegirls to a variety of places, DC and Jacksonville, Florida, and Cleveland and Santa Barbara. And I was on one trip and I was struck by the fact there was one homie who never said thank you. Not to the cab driver, not to the waitress, not to the stranger giving directions. Never thank you. Instead, he would look at the person in his eyes and slightly bow and say, I appreciate you. I was always moved by it. In fact, it became for me kind of a mantra. So I would go on my morning walk and I would breathe in, I appreciate you. And I would breathe out, I appreciate you. You breathe in the spirit that delights in your being, and then you breathe it out into the world because the world could use it. Appreciate's a good word because it means to see and recognize the value of something or someone. And that's important here. Believing in God is easy. Believing in ourselves is hard. So all of you have had some experience with the Department of Corrections. But Homeboy is the Department of Connections. And it's a place where we have to stay anchored in the present moment, to delight in each other, but to see and to recognize and appreciate each other. So there's a homie I know who got deported a long time ago, and his nickname that he called himself is Paradise. So he'll email me or he'll text me and he'll say, hey G, this is Paradise. And so I know exactly what that means. I mean, I know who he is, and in my cell phone it says Jose Paradise. And it's because he was locked up in a probation camp, and I gave a homily once about Jesus being crucified between the two ladrones, the two robbers. And at one point he turns to one of them and says, this day you'll be with me in paradise. And so it was a homily about this day, this moment, that's all we have. We're only saved in the present moment. This day with me, paradise. And so it's about recognizing and appreciating each other and the gifts and stuff. So he would have these things called paradise sightings, where he saw something and recognized it for a gift. So one day he came into my office and he said, yesterday I was tooken by God on a ride to paradise. And I said, I'm all ears, you had me at tooken. So he was in a car with his lady, his baby mama, and he said, oh my God, we were fighting like cats and dogs. We were fighting over shit that didn't even matter. And then, so all of a sudden, the smoke started coming out of the hood of the car, and so I barely made it into a Shell gas station, and then I had to push it the rest of the way. It took 3 hours, he said, for the grua, for the tow truck to arrive, and then he looked at me and smiled and he said, paradise. I said, well, okay, you lost me on this one. He said, well, we decided not to fight, and we decided to just talk for those 3 hours. And we looked at each other and we said, where would we be if we didn't have each other? And we just spent 3 hours appreciating each other. Paradise. This day with me, paradise. Believing in God is hard, is easy, but believing in ourselves and really creating a culture that becomes the Department of Connections is really hard. But we can do it, and the answer to do it is to deepen a sense of awareness of each other, to see each other, to cherish each other, to recognize the gift that we are to each other. So, I appreciate you. So Mary,